as the world becomes a crazier and crazier place. I hope that everybody is well. I hope that your families are well. And whatever opportunity that COVID-19 is affording us, I hope that we're using it to the best of our ability. This week, the Parsha starts, Vayikra Moshe. Rashi comments that this calling, Hashem calling to Moshe, is a Lashon Chiba. It's a term of endearment. It's a term of love. This is not the first time, though, that Vayikra Moshe shows up. We see by Matan Torah Vayikra Moshe. We also see by the burning bush Vayikra Moshe. So why is it that of all places Rashi chooses here by the introduction to Karbanos, he chooses here to write that Vayikra Moshe is a language of endearment? So the Rebbe answers that really, Adam ki akriv mikem, really that it's us that should be up on the altar, but Hashem is offering us, instead of our being there, to bring an animal as a sacrifice instead. If we're bringing a sin offering, so instead of retribution coming for the sin, we bring the animal. But even if it's not a sin offering, even if it's just a donation, so we have so much gratitude to Hashem for everything that He does for us, the totality of our being, so that's really us that should be on the altar. That's really our entirety that we owe to Hashem. So we're offering that as gratitude. The Rebbe says, similar to this when somebody fasts. So the language of the Gemara is that when we lessen our blood and our fat, so Hashem should count that as a karban. And the Rebbe also writes, similar to that, also Yisurim, whenever we're suffering. So because that is a lessening or a lowering of our blood and our fat, so that should be like a karban as well, which is such a potent statement from the Rebbe coming from the Warsaw Ghetto in middle of the Holocaust. But Vayikra Moshe specifically here is a lashon, a language of endearment, because Hashem is allowing us to live our lives in the best way that we can, and He substitutes serious retribution for something less, either by karbanos or yisurim. The yisurim part obviously is very relevant to what we're going through today. A second answer, however, could be, a number of years ago, a former student in my shir called and told me that he was learning chavrusa with another guy in the shir. They were talking Torahs of Rav Machlis, and Rav Machlis had mentioned that whereas karban is a language of karav, of closest to Hashem, there's something that's even closer to Hashem, and that is kara. Very often when we speak to people, if we want to connect with them, so calling them by their name is a method by which we could be connected even more strongly. People say that when you negotiate, one of the best ways to negotiate is to say the person's name many times, and that creates a bond and gives the person a buy-in that he wants to be part of your team. And Rav Machlis pointed out that karav is kuf reish beis, but what's even closer than Kuf Reish Beis is Kuf Reish Aleph, Kara. That's a way of getting even closer to Hashem. So that's why specifically, Rav Machlis didn't say this, but maybe the point is, that's why specifically over here, this Vayikra El Moshe is a term of endearment when it comes to introduction to Karbanos, because Karbanos gets us closer to Hashem, sacrificing can get us closer to Hashem, but maybe even perhaps for us, calling out to Hashem could also get us closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this Torah should actually be in the Refuah Shalema of Zev Yitzchak ben Chayesara and Tzvi Aryeh ben Blanca, who are the two fathers of the guys who are in that story. Everybody, all of Klal Yisrael, who are suffering, and the whole world who are suffering with this illness, we should have Refuah Shalema Mehera Yiratzom of Nevinu Shabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us feel as close to Him as possible, and He should be as close to us as possible as well. Have a good Shabbos.